Hey Reddit, I'm Jake, 35, and I just watched my cheating wife's world collapse in real time. I always thought I was a smart guy. I had a good job, a nice house, and a wife I thought I could trust. Turns out, I was dead wrong. Because the woman I built my life with, she was plotting against me the entire time. And when she finally revealed the truth, she thought I'd be crushed. She thought she had won. But what she didn't know, I already knew everything. And I was about to end her entire world with one envelope. Let's rewind. I met Lisa 8 years ago. She was charming, fun, and made me feel like the luckiest guy in the world. At least, that's what I thought at the time. We got married after 2 years, bought a house, and started talking about starting a family. Life was good, until it wasn't. Because about a year ago, Lisa started changing. She became distant, started working late all the time, guarding her phone like it contained state secrets. At first, I ignored the red flags, told myself I was overthinking. But then I noticed the little things. She would come home wearing perfume when she claimed she had been at the gym. Her texts became short, one-word answers. She started fights over nothing. And then, she stopped initiating any kind of intimacy. That's when I knew. Lisa wasn't my wife anymore. She was someone else's. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because I knew if I just accused her, she'd lie. She'd gaslight me, make me feel like I was the crazy one. So instead, I started gathering proof. I checked her phone records. Lisa had been texting one number constantly. Hundreds of messages. Late at night, during her work trips, I ran the number through a reverse search. And when I saw the name, I nearly laughed out loud. It was her ex. The one she had always sworn she hated. The one she said was toxic and manipulative. Yeah, right? She wasn't over him. She was screwing him. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I waited. Because if she was hiding this much, I knew there was more. And I was right. One night, I went through her emails. And what I found, it made my blood run cold. She had been talking to a divorce lawyer. For months. Not only that, she had been looking into alimony laws. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning her escape. She was trying to figure out how to screw me over financially. And then, a few weeks later, she gave me the final piece of the puzzle. The moment she thought she had won. I came home from work one night, and Lisa was waiting for me. She was sitting at the kitchen table, a smug look on her face. I raised an eyebrow. What's going on? She leaned back, smirking. I'm pregnant. I felt my stomach drop. She watched my face carefully, waiting for me to react. I swallowed. That's surprising. She tilted her head. Surprising? What? I forced a smile. Well, we haven't exactly been close lately. Her smirk grew wider. Oh, Jake, she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. That's because it's not yours. Silence. She stared at me, waiting for me to break. Waiting for me to snap, to yell, to lose control. She thought she had destroyed me. Instead, I just nodded. And that shook her. Because she expected me to be furious. She expected a reaction. But I just stood there, calm, and she didn't know what to do with that. Her smirk faltered. Did you hear me? The baby isn't yours. I smiled. I heard you. She narrowed her eyes. And I sat down across from her. And what? Her jaw tightened. You're not mad? I shrugged. No, Lisa, I'm not mad. Her eyes widened. You're not. I shook my head, still smiling. Because what she didn't know, I had been waiting for this moment. And now that it was here, I was about to flip the entire game on her. Lisa leaned forward, frustration creeping in her voice. Well, you should be mad. I'm leaving you, Jake. And I'm taking half of everything. I nodded again. That makes sense. Her eyes narrowed. And I expect alimony. I raised an eyebrow. Alimony? She smirked. You make more than me. I talked to my lawyer. I'm entitled to it. I let out a small chuckle. Because she had no idea what was coming. I reached into my briefcase, pulled out an envelope, and slid it across the table. Lisa frowned. What's this? I smiled. Open it. She snatched it up, ripping it open. And as she started reading the contents, her face went pale. Her hand began to shake. And for the first time, Lisa realized she wasn't the one in control anymore. Because inside that envelope was proof of everything. The phone records, the emails, the evidence that she had been planning to screw me over while cheating behind my back. And the best part? My own divorce papers, filed weeks ago. with a prenup that made sure she walked away with absolutely nothing. Lisa's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Her smug confidence? Gone. She thought she had won. She thought she had played me. But she never realized. I was always 5 steps ahead.
Lisa's hands were shaking as she flipped through the papers. Her eyes darted over every damning piece of evidence. The phone records, the emails with her lawyer, the proof of her affair, and then the divorce papers, filed weeks ago, with a prenup that left her with nothing. Her mouth opened and closed, like she was trying to process what was happening. Then she snapped her head up, eyes blazing. "What the hell is this?" I smiled, calm, controlled. "This," I said, leaning back in my chair, "is the moment you realize you've lost." Lisa's face flushed red. "This is a joke," she spat, throwing the papers onto the table. I shook my head. "Not a joke. Just a well-prepared response to your betrayal." She let out a bitter laugh. "You think you're smart, huh?" she sneered. "You think you can just get rid of me?" I shrugged. "Lisa, you already made that decision for me. You cheated. You planned to leave me. You wanted to take half of everything and hit me with alimony." I leaned forward. "But you forgot one very important detail." She glared at me. I smirked. "We signed a prenup." Lisa froze. I watched as realization sank in. Slowly, painfully. She had assumed she'd be entitled to everything. She thought she'd walk away with a fat paycheck for screwing me over. But she never actually read the prenup, did she? She had signed it years ago when we first got married, thinking it was just a formality. But me, I had been smart. The prenup was airtight. And now, she was screwed. Lisa shot up from her chair, face twisted with rage. "No," she snapped. "This isn't happening. This isn't real." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, it's very real." She grabbed the papers, scanning every page. Then she found the clause. The part that stated infidelity voided any right to spousal support. She gasped. Then she looked at me. "You set me up," she whispered. I smiled. "No, Lisa," I said. "You set yourself up. I just made sure I was ready when you did." Her hands curled into fists. "This isn't fair," she shouted. "You can't just leave me with nothing." I tilted my head. "Oh, I can. And I am." She shook her head violently. "No, I'll fight this. I'll take you to court." I chuckled. "Feel free. Just keep in mind." I tapped the folder. "I have more than enough proof to ruin you in front of a judge." Lisa's breath was shaky. For the first time, she looked scared. She had spent months plotting against me. She thought she was in control. But now, she realized she had played herself. And I was done playing nice. Lisa's voice dropped to a whisper. "Jake, please," she said, her tone suddenly soft. "We don't have to do this. We can fix things. You don't have to leave me." I smirked. The panic was setting in. She was trying to manipulate me one last time. But she had lost that power. I stood up, pushing my chair back. "I already left you, Lisa," I said. "You just didn't know it yet." She flinched. I grabbed my keys, heading for the door. She lunged forward, grabbing my arm. "Jake, wait," she begged. "Let's talk about this." I turned to face her, and then I delivered the final blow. I pulled my phone out of my pocket, clicked on a file, turned the screen toward her, and hit play. Her ex's voice filled the room. "Tyler, you sure he still doesn't suspect anything?" "Lisa, no. He's clueless. He actually thinks we've just been going through a rough patch." "Tyler, damn. He really has no idea you're carrying my baby?" "Lisa, nope. And I don't plan on telling him until it's too late for him to back out of alimony." Lisa's face went sheet white. Her lips parted in shock. And then, she collapsed into the chair. I slid my phone back into my pocket. Then I smiled. "Just in case you were thinking of trying to play the victim," I said. Lisa buried her face in her hands. I turned back toward the door, and without another word, I walked out. I didn't look back. Lisa called me 20 times that night. I ignored every single one. She sent wall after wall of texts. Some were angry. "Lisa, you ruined my life. You bastard. Some were desperate. Lisa, Jake, please. We can fix this. And some were just pathetic. Lisa, I made a mistake. Please don't do this to me. I didn't answer. Because the moment she chose another man over me, she was already dead to me. Over the next few weeks, Lisa spiraled. She tried playing the victim. She told everyone I had set her up and that I was a cruel, heartless man. But every time she tried, I just let the evidence speak for itself. Her family, they disowned her. Her friends, they dropped her. Even her ex, Tyler, didn't stick around. Because once he realized she was broke and couldn't milk me for alimony, he bailed. And Lisa, she was left with nothing. No money, no house, no support, and no one left to blame but herself. On the other hand, I was free. No more lies, no more games, no more being trapped in a marriage built on manipulation. I had won. And Lisa, she had finally realized the truth. She never had control over me. I was always 5 steps ahead. And now, she was the one left picking up the pieces. Alone. And that was the greatest revenge of all. Lisa was spiraling. After I walked out on her, she tried everything to gain control again. She called. She texted. She sent long, dramatic emails about how I was ruining her life. But I didn't answer. And that drove her insane. Because Lisa wasn't just a cheater. She was a control freak. And now that I had taken away her ability to manipulate me, she was desperate. But here's the thing about desperate people. They get reckless. And Lisa was about to make one last, disastrous mistake. Started small. Mutual friends started reaching out. Friend number 1. Hey man, Lisa's been saying some crazy stuff about you. Everything okay? Friend number 2. Bro, did you really set her up and steal all her money like she's claiming? I laughed when I read those messages. Because of course she was playing the victim. It was her only move left. She told anyone who would listen that I was some evil mastermind who had manipulated her into signing the prenup. That I had trapped her in a loveless marriage and then blindsided her when she got pregnant. That I had coldly and heartlessly walked out on her when she needed me the most. And honestly, I let her talk, because while she was out there running her mouth, I was sitting on proof that she was a lying, cheating fraud. So I told our mutual friends, give it a few weeks. She's gonna burn herself down all on her own. And I was right, because Lisa's next move was her final mistake. One night, I got a call from my lawyer. I frowned. It was late. Too late for a normal legal update. I picked up. What's up? He sighed. Lisa just filed an emergency motion against you. I blinked. What? She's claiming that you financially abused her during the marriage and that you tricked her into signing the prenup under duress. I let out a sharp laugh. You're kidding. I wish I was, he muttered. But don't worry. It's a weak case. She has no proof. This is a last-ditch effort. I smirked. Good. Let's bury her. Because Lisa wasn't just trying to drag me into court. She was lying under oath. And that was about to backfire spectacularly. A week later, we had our hearing. Lisa showed up in full victim mode. Dressed modestly, no makeup, looking frail and sad. She had perfected her performance. Her lawyer stood up, painting me as some cold, calculating monster who had preyed on a vulnerable woman, and then abandoned her when she became pregnant. Lisa sniffled on cue. She played the part flawlessly, but the moment she opened her mouth, she screwed herself over. Lisa lied, repeatedly. She claimed I had forced her to sign the prenup, that I had hidden money from her, that I had been secretly planning to leave her for years. And then, she really went for it. She looked the judge right in the eyes and said, I was faithful to my husband. He's just doing this to punish me. Silence. I smiled, because that was perjury, and I was about to prove it. I stood up, calm, collected, and then I pulled out the envelope, the same one I had given Lisa the night I walked out. Only this time, I had more. I handed the judge a thick stack of documents. And then I said, Your Honor, these are phone records, emails, and text messages proving that my wife was having an affair for over a year. Lisa's face drained of color. The judge flipped through the papers. Then I hit her with the real bombshell. I also have a recording of her admitting that the baby she's carrying isn't mine. Would you like to hear it? Lisa's mouth fell open. Her lawyer looked like he was about to pass out. The judge narrowed his eyes and nodded. Play it. I pulled out my phone. Hit play. And the courtroom filled with Lisa's own voice. Lisa, no, he's clueless. He actually thinks we've just been going through a rough patch. Tyler, damn. He really has no idea you're carrying my baby? Lisa, nope. And I don't plan on telling him until it's too late for him to back out of alimony. Lisa's lawyer immediately panicked. Your Honor, he stammered. We weren't aware of this. The judge held up a hand. Then he turned to Lisa, his voice cold. Is this you in the recording, Mrs. Carter? Lisa stared at the table, her hands trembling. She knew she was caught. After a long, painful pause, she muttered, yes. And just like that, it was over. The judge ruled in my favor instantly. The prenup was upheld. Lisa got nothing. No alimony. No financial support. Not a single dollar. But it got worse for her. Because lying under oath is a crime. Lisa was slapped with a perjury charge. And while she wasn't going to jail, she was now facing heavy fines and legal trouble. All because she thought she could outsmart me. And instead, she destroyed herself. Lisa tried one last time to reach out after the hearing. She texted me one final message. Lisa, Jake, I don't know how I lost control of everything. I never meant for it to go this far. Please just talk to me one last time. I stared at the message. Then, I laughed, because she still didn't get it. She thought this was fixable. That after everything, I'd be willing to hear her out. But the truth was simple. Lisa had made her bed. And now, she was rotting in it. Alone. And me? I was finally truly free. And I had never felt better.
Lisa lost. Completely. She had no money, no support, no reputation. She thought she was untouchable, that she could cheat, manipulate, and lie and still come out on top. But now, she was nothing. And the worst part, for her anyway, I didn't even care anymore. She was out of my life. But Lisa wasn't the type to go down quietly. She was desperate. And desperate people, they get dangerous. I thought that after the court case, Lisa would disappear. She had no money, no legal leverage, and no one left to manipulate. But instead of accepting her loss, she decided to blame me for her own downfall. And that's when she did something insane. One night, I was out with some friends, having drinks, and finally enjoying life again. My phone buzzed. I glanced at it, expecting a text from Matt or one of my buddies. Instead, it was a notification from my work email. Subject: urgent. Complaint filed against you. My stomach dropped. I clicked the email, and when I saw what it said, I laughed, because Lisa had officially lost her damn mind. She had sent a formal complaint to my company. Not just a random rant, but an actual legal complaint, claiming that I had been abusive during our marriage, that I had emotionally manipulated her into signing the prenup, that I had stolen assets from her in the divorce. And the best part? She attached fake screenshots of text messages, trying to make me look like some horrible, controlling husband. She thought she was smart, that she could screw with my livelihood after failing to screw me over in court. But what she didn't realize, she just handed me the last piece of evidence I needed to ruin her for good. The next morning, I walked in my boss's office. He sighed, shaking his head. Jake, I assume you saw the complaint? I nodded. Yeah, and I can prove it's all bullshit. He raised an eyebrow. Oh, I pulled out my own folder. Because Lisa wasn't the only one who knew how to keep records. I had actual, real proof of everything. The original, untouched text messages. Emails showing that Lisa had been plotting behind my back. Court documents proving she had lied under oath. And then, I showed him the best part. A forensic analysis proving that the text messages she sent to my company were doctored. I handed everything over. My boss scanned the papers, then let out a low whistle. Well, he said, leaning back, that settles that. So, I'm not fired. I joked. He chuckled. Not even close. But Lisa, He shook his head. She's in serious trouble. I smirked. Oh, I know, because this was defamation, and I was about to take legal action. I didn't warn Lisa. I didn't send her a message. I didn't let her know what was coming. I just let my lawyer handle it. And a few weeks later, she got served. She called me immediately. I answered, just because I wanted to hear her panic. Jake, what the hell is this? She snapped. I smiled. You tell me, Lisa. You're suing me? I leaned back. Yeah, I am. You can't do that. I laughed. Oh, I can. And I did. She let out a frustrated scream. You've already ruined my life. What more do you want? I shrugged. I don't want anything from you, Lisa. I just don't like liars. She gasped. I was angry, okay? I wasn't thinking. I just wanted to make you feel what I felt. I raised an eyebrow. You mean you wanted to ruin my life? She went silent. And that's when she realized she had just admitted to everything. I smirked. Thanks for confirming your intent, by the way. My lawyer will love that. She sobbed. Jake, please. Don't do this. You've won. Just let me go. I sighed, and for a moment, I actually considered it. Then I remembered everything she had done. How she had cheated, lied, manipulated, and tried to destroy my reputation. And I smiled. No, Lisa, I said. You don't get to walk away from this one. Then, I hung up. Lisa tried fighting the lawsuit, but she had no money for a lawyer. And the court didn't look kindly on someone who had already been proven to be a liar. She lost. Again. And this time, she had to pay damages. She thought she could ruin me. Instead, she ended up deeper in debt. Broke. Alone. With no one left to save her. And me? I was finally done. Lisa tried reaching out one last time. She sent me a final email. Lisa, Jake, I don't even know who I am anymore. I've lost everything. I know I deserve it, but I just need to know. Are you happy now? I stared at the message for a long time. Then, I deleted it, without answering, because Lisa wasn't my problem anymore. And as for whether I was happy, the answer was simple. I had never been happier.
Lisa had nothing left. No money, no job, no reputation. She had burned every single bridge. She thought she was untouchable, that she could cheat, manipulate, and lie her way through life. But in the end, she played herself. And now, she was the one drowning. And I was finally free. After Lisa lost the lawsuit, she disappeared for a while. No texts, no emails, no pathetic attempts at guilt-tripping me. She was finally out of my life. And honestly, I didn't care where she went. For the first time in years, I wasn't constantly looking over my shoulder. I wasn't dealing with manipulation, lies, and drama. I was living, actually living. And damn, it felt good. A few months passed. I had moved on, gotten back into dating, traveled, rebuilt my life from the ground up. Then one night, I got a call from Matt, and the second I picked up, I knew something was up. Dude, he said, sounding amused. You are not gonna believe this. I leaned back. What now? He chuckled. Lisa's back. I raised an eyebrow. Back where? Here, in town. And she's... He paused, trying not to laugh. And she's what? I asked. She's bartending at a dive bar. I blinked. Then I burst out laughing. Lisa, who always thought she was better than everyone. Lisa, who once said she'd never work a job that wasn't high class. Lisa, who tried to ruin my life to secure her future, was now pouring drinks for minimum wage. I shook my head. You're messing with me. Matt snorted. I wish. She's working at O'Malley's. I saw her with my own eyes. I let out a low whistle. O'Malley's was not a good bar. The kind of place where people go to forget their problems. The kind of place where dreams go to die. And Lisa, she was right there with them. I didn't go looking for her. I had no interest in running into Lisa ever again. But fate had other plans. Because one night, after grabbing dinner with some friends, we ended up at O'Malley's. I wasn't even thinking about Lisa until I heard her voice. And then, I saw her. She was standing behind the bar, wearing a cheap uniform, wiping down the counter with a dead look in her eyes. She looked nothing like the woman I married. She looked tired, defeated, like someone who had finally realized they had hit rock bottom. And when her eyes met mine, her face crumbled. I saw recognition, then shame. I smirked, because finally, she knew. She had lost. Lisa didn't come over. She didn't try to talk to me. She just looked away, focusing on her work, pretending I wasn't there. And me, I just enjoyed my drink. Because that was the real victory. Not the lawsuit, not the divorce, not even the money I kept. It was this moment, sitting there, completely unaffected, while Lisa sat in the ruins of her own destruction. That was the greatest revenge of all. A few weeks later, I got one last email. From Lisa. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the best of me. I opened it, and what I read, it actually made me laugh. Lisa's email. Jake, I know I'm the last person you ever want to hear from, but I just needed to say this. You were right. About everything. I was selfish. I was cruel. I destroyed my own life, and I have no one to blame but myself. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything from you, actually. I wanted you to know that I finally get it. I ruined the best thing I ever had, and that's something I have to live with for the rest of my life. I hope you're happy, Jake. I really do, because you deserve it. Lisa. I stared at the email. Then, I deleted it, without answering, because Lisa didn't deserve closure. She didn't deserve a response. She had spent years manipulating me, betraying me, and trying to ruin my life. And now, she was alone, with nothing but regret. And me, I was finally truly free, and I had never been happier.